right?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a
that's
moment.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Wait, what?
really cool. I was very because like when I saw the announcement on Twitter, I was like, really, we're gonna really do this? And then I watched it. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'm. And then seeing who it's from,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll obviously get into, but yeah, uh,
That's
pretty
awesome.
really good. Let's see.
That's
It's a yeah. All right, you know what?
I love the opening, like how
Yeah,
they've changed up just enough. Shredder, man, he looks he looks like a Contra boss, man.
a little bit. Yeah, very nice. Very cool.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we'll give it a minute and we'll get started. I don't have anything for the cold. Um, aside
So
from
so you've gone from Mitch to Minch to Munch to
uh,
Mulch.
to mulch, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
You
going through the gambit of everything I've been called in my life. It'll eventually get to the
Boonch
boonch and
and then
just yeah,
Goobun
yeah, goobun
from
ga.
Georgia.
Yeah, from Georgia. Yeah, I don't know why they thought that that was a thing. Uh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you know what? Let's go live. Let's do it.
Let's go. I'm
I'm
ready to
ready.
go.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Okay, it's Wednesday. All right, it's
The
Wednesday.
10th.
It's
It's Mario Day.
yeah, it's Mario 10. It's Mar 10. Martio 10.
Mario Day.
Okay, here we go.
It's a me.
It's it's a me. All right, here we go.
It's a my day.
In three, two. Hey everyone, it is Wednesday, March 10th, 20 and 21, and you're listening to the MC Gamescast. I am one of your hosts, Mitchell Barrett, and I am joined by the man, the mystery, my friend and yours, Charlie Zarzuela. Charlie, what's up, my dude?
Happy Mario Day.
It's Mario Day! Martin Day. Martin. Anyway, this is
Whose house?
episode. This is episode 29.
Run's house.
Run's House. It's episode 29 of the MC Gamescast entitled I'm Gonna Be an Astronaut When I Grow Up. We're here. We're on our normal day now, Charlie. We've moved our normal recording day to Wednesday because it seems like twice a month we move it from Tuesday to Wednesday anyway. So we thought, why the hell not? Make it just
Yeah,
we're
I
just
mean,
gonna
it works with both our schedules, and we'll go into that in a bit. So,
yeah. It's yeah yeah it becomes a whole thing sometimes and because of clothes and yeah clothes. It's great. Let's just get right into
counting
it.
clothes is awesome.
It's the best. Let's get right into it. Charlie, tell me about your weekend. Did you do anything besides work the whole time?
So, one reason that we are moving the Gamescast to Wednesdays now is that I am now diving into the world of being a sports dad. My son's enrolled in his first season of soccer, and he's 4.5 years old. He is having a lot of fun. His practices are on Tuesdays. He had a game actually last night too. It was cool it brought back memories of when I would play soccer, when I was a lad. And I remember my night games, I think the most fondly. Like that was just so much fun because, you're usually used to playing outside, and all of a sudden, like, not only are you playing at night, you've got these huge floodlights that are extending your shadows onto the field. And I don't know, it just makes everything more epic. Like, and I hate to use that word loosely, but it kind of does. The sport becomes bigger than life, and things get a little louder, like I remember the crisp cold just, hitting me or whatever. But Enough about me. He is having a great time. He's his first game. He, is one of those things where he's kind of feeling his way out. He scored a goal, which it was awesome. And as luck would have it, I did not catch it on tape. Dang. Oh God, I can't even tell you how frustrated I am about the other night.
Oh boy.
So the other night he is. I'm trying not to toot my horn because he's still learning at his game, but man, this kid is fast. Like he has the speed of a gazelle, practically just racing past other kids, and like you can tell he's starting to break out of his shell in regards to like, like I can take the initiative and not wait for other kids to kick the ball. Like I can, make my way through and alpha my way through everybody else. And he ended up scoring 3 goals that night. Well, I decided, I'm going to try again to see if I can catch his excellence on tape, just so I can send it off to Sports Center. And of course, the moment I turn it on, it's like everything just turned off. Like he was just kind of running here and missing a kick there. He would slide one direction and the other. And it's what, he's learning, but he's having fun.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'll edit that tape later or whatever, As soon as I turn it off, he goes from end to end and scores a goal.
Hell yeah.
Like, not even just like, I was like, really? Like, I was clapping, but at the same time, really? You could have done that while Daddy's iPhone was on, huh? But it is what it is. He's having a great time. We're having a blast doing it. I think he knocked on my door just to tell me goodnight. He's like, I know you're talking about me, Daddy.
I know you're here.
But no, gosh, like the weekend was great. It was great weather. Nice to be outside. I'm not going to be that type of dad to intervene, like we're cheering for all the kids to have fun out there, be safe, and, not get themselves hurt and stuff like that. But
sure.
It was good to be outside just amongst other people. It seems like for the first time, comfortably in a while, with the quarantine I was under, and also with the fact that I was just working, it seemed like from sun up to sundown. So right. Even to the point where like, I couldn't even like, this for a fact. I just couldn't talk to my friends. I was like, I can't, I'm literally working. Just like I had to catch up just from all the time I had spent at home. This was, the quarantine had bled into the first couple of days of close. And so, when you're at home, like my work desk is not as work savvy as what I have at the office. And, there are distractions. Cable had stayed at home. And so finally, when I got to work, I had so many days that I had to catch up in. So literally, I just put my earbuds in and just did not pay attention to anyone. Like, unfortunately, and I'm sorry for that, guys, but I was like, I'll see you on the other side. I promise I will. I'm not going crazy. I'm not being pissed off at the world. I'm not mad at anyone, but I apologize for my, appearance of being a dick.
No worries, man. No, yeah,
That's what close does to you, man. The accounting world, it just.
I mean, we have a slightly different schedule than you do in terms of how busy we are over the course of close. Like for us, it's very front loaded, and then as it goes on towards the end, it's less for us. But those first couple of days for us are just they can be long and very much a nightmare. But I'm glad we're through it. I'm glad that your son is having a good time. I'm glad you're having a good time with it. And yeah, like the weather all of a sudden hit this great point of, hey, you remember all that shit like 3 weeks ago? It's gone. Spring's here. It's
oh my gosh,
it's spring, and it is nice. It's not as much as I like the cold. It's been nice to leave for work, not having to wear a jacket and just be comfortable, and that's been good. Did you get up to anything else this weekend?
I made some roast.
Ooh.
I enjoyed some the end of WandaVision.
Oh, sure.
Thought it was really, really enjoyable, really, really fun. I experienced one of the craziest. So I didn't play this video game. I watched it again from afar because I had played Metal Gear Solid 3. Well, Metal Gear Solid 4 is one crazy thing.
Batshit crazy.
Was it the Guns of the Patriots? Wow. I finished it. I actually finished it today.
Nice.
While I was, sending out my deliverables, and oh, that is the Return of the King, ending. It's so grandiose and just
Yeah.
it sums up, a culmination of a game timeline that lasts 60 years.
Yeah, it sums it up, but I don't know if it answers anything. But yes, you're correct. It's definitely.
I honestly think I took a little moment to check out all the wiki, and actually it answered a lot of things, like even more so than even like MSG2 did.
Yeah,
where that just made things even more wonky.
You want to talk about something that doesn't answer a damn thing.
But no, like I actually it made me want to stop for a moment. Like, do I want to go into this thing and see what I would do? But I don't know if that's just too big of a cookie to bite into for me.
Yeah,
so
that's tough.
But it's fun that I experienced it. I'm looking forward to maybe. I still haven't thought about if I'm going to watch through 5 or play through 5.
You need to play through 5. Because I could tell you that the reason why you should is because when you go back and watch 5 in Scanlan, he's going to do it way different from what you're going to do, and it's going to be more fun watching it afterwards, because the episodes that I've seen, I haven't watched a ton of it, but the episodes that I have seen, which came after I played it, he plays it way differently than I do, and it's really cool watching him do it, and me sitting there being like, why isn't he doing the thing? Why isn't he doing this thing? It's kind of like when I watch Kerbal. It's like, why aren't you doing the thing? So I would give it a shot. I would give 5 a shot. It's really, plus it's easily the best playing game of the series.
Yeah.
And they somehow made Metal Gear Solid open world, and it's really good. It's so good. But yeah, that's cool that you got to finally see. Did you? Okay, so now I almost spoiled it last week. So the end where they're fighting, and it does the different Metal Gear, the UI stuff.
The UI is really cool.
Yeah, the music,
the music tracks, how it switches off in between 1 and 2 and 3, and then into 4. It's just it's such a long fight. Because I'm and seeing, I guess my perception of it is probably different than how I would feel if I was playing it. Because I remember not liking that fight on top of the Metal Gear and MGS1, and I don't know how that would feel. Obviously, Drew had said he did not like that fighting. I
didn't like.
He had reservations in regards please don't make me box this guy on top, and lo and behold, they did.
I didn't like 2. I didn't like the sword fight at the end of 2 very much. I didn't think it was that good. But yeah, it's funny because Metal Gear has always had issues ending their games in terms of how they end them gameplay wise, and 3 might be
3's the best.
The
fight against Big Boss or Boss.
I don't want to spoil kind of the final bits of 5 since you haven't seen it.
Sure.
And it probably for me is number 2 of the games. It's a decent way it ends.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Metal Gear's great. It's great.
Totally a thing.
Yeah. Anything else this weekend?
No, man. Are you kidding me? I didn't have enough days in this weekend to do any more. What have you been doing, man?
So Saturday I had to do grocery shopping twice because of my debit card issues I had. I was the subject of fraud a month ago, and it was a whole thing. It's not worth getting into. I acted like an idiot at the store. I was an asshole. So Charlie, I briefly talked to you about this a couple weeks ago. I've continued my trek into that NBA Top Shot stuff.
Okay.
and I finally was able to buy a pack on Saturday. So
You
I
bought, was it like a premium pack or is it
it
like
was
a
this was not a premium one. This one was
like
a kind of a common one that
okay.
they were giving, they were selling a pretty good amount of, but I was able to get one. And so I opened it up and it does this big presentation, and so I got 3 of the moments, and I got a Domantas Sabonis, I got a Kristaps Porzingis,
Okay, there you go.
and a Mike Conley.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
so the pack was $15. The
Okay.
Sabonis was one of the special cards in the set. There was a
A rare.
special. Yeah, they had a separate set that was called Seeing Stars, and it's basically some kind of up and coming stars.
Bonus, huh? Okay.
Uh, so as I was telling you, there is a marketplace to put these moments online, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a buyer and seller's market.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out the Sabonis that I got was a pretty good serial number. I got 340 out of like I think it was 12,000.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
same thing with Kristaps. I got like 850 out of like 20,000. So I was like, you know what?
Okay.
I'm gonna throw them on the market. I'm gonna throw them on there. I'm gonna look and see what everybody else is selling them for. I'm gonna put it for just under that. See what happens. So I ended up selling both of them very quickly and making an additional $200 on it.
Damn.
So let's just say I'm all in now on this. I tried to buy the $200 pack.
Hold on. Can you extrapolate for a second?
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
can
right
vamp.
back.
I can vamp. Yeah, so I'm all in. They do a big large pack of rares. It's like $200. I was not able to get in on that, but yeah, I am pretty all in on the NBA Top Shot. The NBA Top Shot, if you're not familiar, is a it's promoted by the NBA, the National Basketball Association, and what it is it's essentially digital trading cards. Like you remember your trading cards from your youth, you know, and so they made these digital kind of highlight video trading cards, and it's based off of blockchain technology, the same technology that is used in cryptocurrency. And so essentially each individual moment card has its own individual encryption that cannot be forged. And so if they only make, say, 1,000 of a specific, like a LeBron James card, they there is only 1,000 made. Nobody can go in. Someone can't go in, hack the system, and create their own because of the way that the authentication is and the encryption is for it, much like Bitcoin. So yeah, so it's a really weird and really interesting thing, and you know some of these moments, like there was a LeBron James moment that sold for it was like a LeBron James number one, uh, legendary from a legendary pack where only like 50 were made, and it was the number one serial number, and it sold for $200,000 on the market. Um, and so it's much like regular physical trading cards and autographs and memorabilia. It's all based on supply and demand. If there's a demand for an item that you own, you can sell it, and you can sell it for a lot of money. So yeah, I turned my $15 pack of commons into an additional $200, and yeah, it's really cool. As far as anything else, I kind of got up to, I I ended up
Okay.
uh, I ended up on Sunday not doing a whole heck of a lot. I tried to get in on the $200 rare pack, but I was unable to get in on that. But yeah, that's really about it. Now that Charlie is back.
That's an impressive return on investment, though.
Yeah,
$15 for
yeah,
200.
absolutely. And again, like it's one of those things where when I told you about it originally, like the first one that I originally was getting in on, it was I think it was $100, and uh, kind
You
of
and everyone at the ticket.
yeah, and I remember you were a little skeptical, especially at that price. But like, I'm really glad that I got in. I started off at only having to spend $15 because it
Oh,
gave
sure.
it gave me the ability to kind of see and kind of feel it out. And now that I turned that into something, now I'm kind of all in on it because
Uh-oh.
and I've
That's where
been
they get you.
I know, right? That's where
It's like winning your first scratch off.
yeah, like I've been getting into stocks and crypto a lot lately,
Hmm.
as well. Just I'm diversifying my portfolio,
That's
and
what you need to
so
do.
this is kind of a different. This is kind of a another little. It's an investment type thing. And sometimes I'm gonna spend $15-$20 on a pack, and I'm gonna get nothing. Like the Mike Conley that I got is essentially worthless. Like it's an extremely high serial number, but again, they're extremely cool looking. Like when you click on um your collection, like they look really cool. Like the presentation looks really neat. It looks like a digital trading card. Like it shows like their stats and they show all this stuff, and it's a really cool thing. And as I was saying while you were gone, it's extremely secure. It's as secure as anything out there in the world, with the encryption because of the blockchain technology, and it's really neat. I like it a lot, and I'm gonna keep playing that game.
When you sell it, I'm
Mhm.
guessing you just don't have access to it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't. I don't own it anymore. Now I can go and quote look at the card, but it's not my possession anymore.
Oh,
And so I don't own it. Someone else owns it, and they can do what they want. And the more than likely the person, especially the Sabonis, because the Sabonis is the one that's the most rare of the three that I got. Someone's gonna. I sold it for $160, and more than likely someone is going to hold it a little bit, try to increase its value, let the early sellers get out of the way, and they may end up selling it for 250, 300. They may end up selling it for a little bit more. And now that I've started doing it and kind of understand how the feel of it, I'd probably be more likely to hang on to something, unless I get lucky and get a number one, or like say I get a Luca and it's serial number 77, his number that's worth way more.
oh, we won't hear from you anymore.
Oh, I mean, I'll be rich.
Oof.
I also, funny enough, number 69 serial number always gets a little bit more,
God,
because the internet can't handle
why
things
not?
as we can handle anyway. So yeah, so that was my weekend. I didn't do much else. The games we'll talk about here in just a moment. In fact, actually, Charlie, why don't we get to the games? That's what we're
Yeah,
here for. Let's talk games. Charlie, did you play any
stock
games?
market talk. Yeah, man. I played a good amount of games when I had the time. I didn't get to play much Fallout. I literally just jumped in and out for a few minutes, just to kind of check the lay of the land in regards to like what my next approach is going to be. Still loving that game. That game every time I think about it, and in those moments where I haven't been working, and I'm like, okay, let me take a peek at something else. And I actually like took a peek at like Fallout 3, which is available on the PlayStation Now right now. I don't know if it's available to download, but I know I was streaming it at the time. And the UI between 3 and New Vegas and 4 is just night and day. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I get why people have a lot of reservations regarding Fallout 4, but if they were just would go backwards a little further to see, I don't want to say the jank, but the less streamlined UI in regards to upgrade settings, your customization settings for your character, versus like the new perk system. I don't know. Maybe I'm just more, I gravitate more toward that streamlining type of business. Unless you're really like, if you're like into Dark Souls where you're very meticulous about each and every little thing, that's where I see the advantages for Fallout 4. That's why I like it a lot more than I'm playing it. Played some I started up Batman Origins actually yesterday afternoon. Wife who was taking a break, so little man stayed at home while he was playing his Lego Batman. I was like, let me play this Batman Arkham Origins game because I've never touched that thing, never intended to, never wanted to. And I was like, well, I'm a podcast video games, so why not try this sucker out? And I was actually pleasantly surprised by its presentation. It plays a little looser than I remember the other games playing. Maybe, I don't know if it's just I'm playing it on the PlayStation instead of like the 360 controller, which tends to play a little tighter. That game though, I mean, it looks great. It's Batman. I mean, I do find something surprising because where it is placed on the timeline, like this is the origins. This is before Batman had set himself up as a vigilante / hero in the city, and people were like, "Oh, everyone's scared of the Bat." Even the policemen are just like trying to arrest him left and right, and he's not allied himself with Commissioner Gordon. Actually, Gordon is a captain in this one. And it seems like, and I understand that the first Arkham game had come out, 6 years prior to this, maybe 8 years. And they had to build their systems from the ground up when it came to Arkham Asylum. Arkham City came along. They developed it a little more. They refined it. It was great. Well, then Arkham Origins, and Arkham Origins is actually a completely different company that made this game instead of, it was Rocksteady. And, they put their own little tidbits into it. And there's a lot of micro leveling in regards to this game. There's a lot of micro analysis to, like, when you're beating up certain guys in a certain area, you get level up points, and you actually see the numbers like floating in front of you, like, not really akin to like Borderlands or anything like that, but it just kind of like tabulates, and it's just kind of like a new thing that, like, I don't really want to say it distracts me a little bit from what's going on, but when I fight a group of bad guys and I see my threat level, or I see how much I've advanced in that particular area, in my journey towards leveling up, it actually makes me think about being less aggressive and more tactile, in that I need to diversify and make my fights a little more than just repeat, punch, dodge, knockout, repeat, like one would, which it can be good and be bad, just depending on how you approach that game. If you just want to approach it from like a fun aspect, it can be a little distracting. I did get to the first boss fight, which was Croc. Croc was designed a whole different way than he was in Arkham Asylum. He was a lot smaller, and it was a really challenging fight. We went through it or whatever, and I'm having a good time with it. I'm actually looking forward to seeing, like, I don't know, I still want to get back into Fallout 4, but I really would like to dig more into this game just to see, I'm a story guy. I want to see how they shape this Batman into going from this point to where he ends up in Arkham Asylum.
Is this the most recent release?
No, this is not Arkham Knight. This is the one before that.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Well
is the
then,
one.
what I was gonna say, it doesn't matter as much. But I saw a thing. It wasn't enough for the news, but there was a thing that someone saw via the Microsoft page that Arkham Knight is getting next gen updates.
Wow,
So I also assume it's coming to PS5 as well.
like
But
that sucker
it's
looked really good on the
right.
PC. I don't know about.
That doesn't matter for Origins. Well, that's cool. What other stuff you been playing, bud?
I did play one more game. I kind of jumped on Saturday night. I guess no one wanted to play, so I was just like, well, everybody's doing their own thing, and I got on play a little Rogue Legacy 2 early access
Hell
again.
yeah!
And we cracked it open a little bit when it first came out. It seems like they've been doing some really expansive patches to it along the way. Uh, you know, um, there are more classes than I remember there ever being for the first Rogue Legacy. There's a cook in this
Cook.
game. Yeah, a
Weird.
cook. You can be a cook, where basically he's a melee character, but he's got a kind of like an added feature to his in his repertoire where he will hit an enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to necessarily do a lot of damage, but the enemy starts receiving burning damage. And you start to see its life just slowly dwindle down and eventually kill it. And it's one of those like interesting proxies that they've added to the game. There's obviously I like playing with the big beefy guys because they have the most health.
Sure.
They haven't expanded the map too much. When I looked into it, the map still is very very enclosed. There's like a particular part of, obviously the maps change, but there's a particular part of the castle that if you search through several rooms, you end up at a bridge. And I don't know if there are plans to expand it in the near future. I'm presuming they will eventually, but I did get to a couple of rooms where there would be little tomes that you would read, and it would give you a little bit more of the story. And this part of the story happened to be quote unquote under construction. So the game looks really, really good. It feels easier, if that
okay.
makes any. I don't know if I'm just taking it from a more patient perspective, because the first game I was just running and gunning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care because I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna put more money into my stats. Let's see if we can beef him up a little bit, and then just go and go and going. And this one, maybe it's the fact because I know it is. It's not the complete game yet.
Taking your time.
It's
more
still early access. That I'm more or less taking in the flavor of like every room. The new abilities that they give you in regards to platforming to different areas of the rooms. I'm really, really glad that they added that, and how you can expand your exploration. They can make for. I can already foresee that it's going to make for exploring the entire castle in its totality a real challenge. But it's coming along. I haven't read too much into what their end date, what their end target could be, but what they've got so far, it's a nice product.
I should play that. I bought it. I still haven't played it. I should probably play that.
I'm happy that normally I don't buy stuff in early access because I'm like, oh, this could be janky or whatever, da 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 da. But I mean, it's honestly like, if they were to say we're done, it is what it is, I'd be fine with it. Constantly like going into like, new rooms and just the essence of what a roguelike is, and its, in that it's constantly changing, um, with no end in sight, that you die and then you just repeat again. It could be as long as you want it to be. I played it. God, it seemed like I was just playing it, and all of a sudden I looked up. I've been playing it for 40 straight minutes, and I didn't even realize it.
Dang, yeah. That's awesome. I'm eventually going to do it. I'm eventually going to play it.
Dive in, man.
Yeah, right. Anything else?
That's it, man. That's as much as I could put on my plate in this current time. I did open up one other thing, but I barely like scratched the surface of it, so there's really no point to bringing it up.
Okay.
I might bring it up next week.
Yeah, maybe next week. I played a little bit more Minecraft. Hit a really bad block. So my buddy and I, our friend of the show, Nico, we decided to go. We needed to go to the Nether, which is the hell like area of Minecraft, because there were some items that we needed to get. Well, we went, and it was hell, and we ended up dying. And it started off this really bad chain reaction of not being able to select our spawn point, and we kept on dying, and we were not able to get our stuff back. So it was kind of one of those demoralizing kind of moments. And so then the other day, Charlie vamped for me for about 30 seconds. Sorry, bud.
I am going to vamp about 30 seconds. I don't know if Mitch went into this, but if you would like to, we've got some really, really cool merch at streamelements.com/Team Llama Squad. We got a really, really cool insignia that is on hoodies and shirts and mugs. You can get the Team Llama Squad logo as well.
That's me.
Yeah, man, it's cool stuff. I have a hoodie myself. It's one of my best hoodies, and I'm a hoodie guy.
Yeah.
This is literally one of the best hoodies I've ever worn.
And see, I'm not hoodie guy. I don't like wearing hoodies because I get way too hot in them. This one is that perfect material where you don't get too hot in them. It's great. They're awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for vamping. What's up?
You're thumping a lot.
I'm thumping. Oh, okay. I won't touch my thing anymore. All right, we're not thumping anymore. Yeah. There you go. Friend of the show, Nico, in the chat right now has a shirt as well. He loves the shirt as well. I've seen it in action. The MC Gamescast shirt on Nick looks really nice. But yeah, so we kind of hit a wall in Minecraft, and so we were looking for something else to do. And so we went through like 5 games where we talked about, do we want to play this? Do we want to play this? And what we ended up doing was playing a game called Astroneer. Astroneer is a kind of an indie space exploration game. Like, think indie No Man's Sky. You land on a planet with very, very little to start with. The game, besides a very short, very light tutorial, doesn't tell you anything. They just say, have at it. You're on a planet. There's some resources. Go for it. And so you go for it. And, you know, I talked about this with Minecraft the last couple times, the last couple of podcasts. And about the sense of discovery in those style of games and how great it is. I'm not sure that I have played a game, aside from maybe No Man's Sky, that has a better sense of discovery. A better sense of, can I do this? And then you try it, and sometimes it doesn't work. And then when it does, though, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe you feel like a genius. You feel like a genius when you do these things. And so, again, we don't know exactly what the point of the game is yet. We think we have a very small idea. There are these shrines that you come across that you have to activate, and we think that you have to activate the shrines, but we haven't done that. Well, there are multiple planets in the solar system that you're in, and so you have all these other planets to go to. There are other materials and resources that are not on your home planet that you need to be able to unlock more stuff to build. And so you have to build generators for power. You have to build oxygenators to have your oxygen with your tethers. You have to build research chambers to research material to get stuff to unlock new things. And you've got your smelters to smelt your different resources to create other resources. So it basically it's one of those kind of open world sandboxy survivally things. There's no UI, and so it really gives you that sense of, hey, you're on this planet, you better go figure some shit out, and we're not going to tell you how to do it, really. I mean, you can go, there are tutorials that you can go through and read, but they don't really do a whole heck of a lot. But it's not one of those things where it's unfair and it doesn't, and the fact that it doesn't tell you what to do, it makes it doesn't make it fun. Like, you're just like, well, how do I do this then? You have to just figure it out, and it's not too difficult. You actually have the ability to just use a little bit of critical thinking, and you're able to think things out. It's such an awesome game. I love it so much. It's such a joy discovering things, either discovering new areas or discovering new caves, discovering new stuff, or discovering something that the game allows you to do is such a joy. I love it so much. I'm going to keep playing that game. It's so good.
Cool.
So basically, I just play open world games. So it's just what I do.
You should play Subnautica.
I know. That seems like another one that I might like. Yeah,
You would love that game. I think there could be a sense of, because it's a solo game and because it's underwater and there are things in the water that I know about that you don't ever really see coming. But I think you'd like that game to a point. Even there was a point even where I was playing, I was like, okay, I got to pull back a bit from this game. It's because it runs the day-night cycle to a T, and all of a sudden you don't realize that you've drifted a little far from your base or your life buoy, and boy, the sea can be a lonely place.
Oh, I bet. And yeah, like, it is all about that resource management. So like at night you have a limited amount of power that you have. So we built solar panels. Well, at night,
are you seeing everything from like a third person perspective?
Yes,
I guess not, because you're in UI.
Well, yeah, it's third person behind your character, and like the way it's very lighthearted. It's not like super rugged looking. It's real. I mean, it's got bright colors. The characters, when they run, they've got a real good, like, kind of cartoony run.
Okay.
But yeah, like, the day-night cycles mean something. Like I said, we built solar panels. Can't use them at night, no sun. So we built wind turbines. Well, eventually the wind stops blowing. And
you have storage batteries, or
yeah, you have batteries that you can store energy, but eventually, obviously, those batteries run out of energy, and you've got to recharge them, and so it's just a lot of management. I'm finding that the open world sandbox where they don't give you really any instruction is my jam these days. Minecraft, and now this. It's Astroneer is a really, really good special game. I really like it a lot, and I'm going to keep playing it.
Cool.
And that's what I've been playing. Hey, the last few weeks I've brought new games to the table, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I didn't even play Rocket League, and you know what? I'm happy for that. Yeah,
Astroneer sounds fun.
Oh, it's really fun. If I ever stream again, I'm going to stream that. But anyway, so that's what we've been playing. That's how everything is going. It's time to start getting into the beef of the show. And
The beef.
the first part of that beef is the news. And Charlie, we have got some pretty good news this week. A little bit of late breaking news too. Some interesting stuff.
I just want to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about the big time breaking news last. We're gonna start with more information about that Bethesda Microsoft deal. Last week we had the lawsuit, the civil suit that was thought to. There was a possibility that the deal between Microsoft and Bethesda may have to have been put off because of the lawsuit. Well, it turns out that's not the case, because the Bethesda Microsoft deal as of today, this morning, is 100% official. I guess no, that was yesterday when that happened. It's official.
Yes.
And so they've already said that more Bethesda games are coming to Game Pass by the end of this week. And Microsoft also confirmed what we thought, which was some, but not all, of future Bethesda games will be Xbox and PC exclusives. What that says to me is your big giant tentpole games, whatever the next Doom is, the next Elder Scrolls, those will probably be multi-platform because they can stand to make a whole bunch of money. But kind of in the case of Starfield. So, but kind of in the case of something like Deathloop, like a game of that size in scope would probably be what we're talking about with the exclusives. Earlier today, there was a rumor, and this has been kind of widely reported, that tomorrow there's going to be a Microsoft Bethesda video where they're going to kind of explain some more of the exclusive stuff, talk about the Game Pass games coming this week, and a little bit more stuff. But it sounds like that there's not going to be any new information on games like Starfield and Elder Scrolls. That's going to be for your E3, your E3 stuff, and all those big shows that come up in the summer. But yeah, so it's done. Bethesda is now officially a part of Microsoft, which is still really weird, and I'm still not sure how much I love it, since I'm not a big proponent of exclusives. But as long as those big tentpole games come multi-platform, I guess in the end, I guess it ends up working out. But
yeah, I mean, it's just one of those, like, it's come to its conclusion or whatever. Now it's like, oh, now the wait and see. It's like, more Bethesda games are coming to Game Pass this week. What games? Let's. Why are you just being inconspicuous in regards to that?
Yeah,
so,
and of course they want to make a big deal out of it.
Let's turn the page on. Yes, this deal is done now. What's coming? So
yeah, for sure. Next week we'll talk about whatever video they have tomorrow, whatever that is, and
yeah.
But yeah, so that's done, and I guess the lawsuit in general meant nothing to the finale of this deal. Charlie, speaking of earlier, you talking about Mario Day. We've got some Nintendo Mario news.
Yeah, man, Orange County, the Florida mayor Jerry Demings.
Mm-hmm.
It says Universal Studios saying that the Super Nintendo World Park opening is going to be delayed until 2025.
So far away, man.
Gosh, I'm going to be 44
yep.
when that happens.
Yeah.
Don't do the math. But across the Pacific, Japan's Super Nintendo World is going to be opening on March 18th. Have you seen any videos of this?
I have seen some stuff on this. It looks, and that's what makes that's what makes the U.S. side news so disappointing, because it's like, it is funny because they announced that this news about the delay came out, and like literally half a day later, it was like, yeah, the Japan park though.
I'm like,
come to Japan because it's here.
It's one more reason for me to say, hey guys, you guys want to take a 23-hour flight? Because I would totally go to Japan to go see, not just the Super Nintendo World, but like everything else as well.
Yeah, just Japan.
That's awesome. But again, today is the 10th. It's Mario Day. There's Mario Day sales for the Switch. You have, was it the Sonic and Super Mario Olympic Games
Mm-hmm.
game? It seems like all the sales right now, they're marking down prices from $60 to $39.
Yeah, looks like about $20
Luigi's
difference.
Mansion is on sale. Super Mario Maker 2 is on sale, and there are a couple of other Mario games on sale as well. The sale's gonna be running through the middle of next week, so you're not too late if you're listening to this podcast on the 11th or whatever. So, but Mario Day, man.
Yeah, it is Mario Day, which I never put those two together. March 10th.
No, neither did I.
Also, it seems like Nintendo never really did it before either, which is weird. Nintendo seems to like to capitalize on that stuff a lot, but
I think the 35th anniversary has opened up their creative minds a little bit to like saying like, how else can we celebrate this plumber?
sure. I mean, I guess they could have started with a better version of Mario 35, but that's not for here or there. Actually, that and the Super Mario 3D All Stars is only available for another 3 weeks, and then apparently that goes away forever.
Yeah, I saw on the digital store that it's still on sale right now. So
Yeah, I think it's the 31st. I think you get to the very end of the month.
still sitting on the fence whether I want to get that.
I'll tell you what, you want it that bad, I'll just sell you my copy because I'm not gonna do it anymore. Hell, I might just let you have it.
But yeah, that's Mario news. I'll go ahead and read the next one since that's mine. Forza 4 is releasing on Steam today. And that's actually the first Forza game to be on a non-Microsoft medium. So if you've basically been stuck with a PC or a PlayStation and you've been jonesing to like play a racing game that may be equal to or better than Gran Turismo, Forza 4 is now available at your disposal through Steam.
And this is also this is I forgot to mention this pre-show. To be clear, this is Forza Horizon 4, not the tentpole Forza.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. Forza Horizon 4 is an incredibly good game. It's really great.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
I don't know the answer
If not
to
the
this.
best.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to this. We had the story last week about Sony bringing more games to PC. They don't put those on the Windows Store, do they? This is all Steam and Epic, right? Like they like Sony is so anti giving anybody else money. Like they don't put that on the Windows Store, right? There's no way.
No.
Yeah, there's no way. Which is Sony's really weird about their kind of cross platform stuff, but yeah, that's.
I mean, the only way to play them is to grab a Sony product. Unfortunately,
sure.
If you want to play God of War that much,
it works for them. The thing that was really interesting is that Forza Horizon 4 is $60 on Steam, and that's a game that has been out for 3 years. And 1, you can get it on Game Pass, and 2, I believe on Xbox, you could just buy it for like $20. So that's weird that is a full price game, but
yeah.
I mean that obviously that's not targeted to me, but I guess some people love their Steam, so they'll get it there. Charlie, I think I could speak for both of us in saying that this ended up being the news of the week coming up here.
Yeah. Let's stop.
Who cares about
enough
Forza?
of the appetizers. Let's get to the main course here.
So today I woke up this morning and was flipping through the Twitters, and the Twitter was a buzz with a trailer for a brand new good God, that is so big. I can't read it.
That's what she said.
A new like old school arcade style Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is on the way. It is titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and they released the trailer with a new version of the cartoon show theme song. And it was sung by Matt Patton of Faith No More, which is so weird, but also it's a cool version of that song. And so it does this kind of animated intro to it, and then it shows some gameplay, and it sure as hell looks like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. Right down to the throwing foot soldiers into the screen. It just has that same look and looks like the same gameplay. When I saw that this had been announced, I was like, really? We're doing this. Dude, this looks badass.
Yeah, like this is the antithesis of Microsoft announcing Battletoads.
Oh, fucking 100%.
This is the very opposite of that.
Right.
And like I was telling you when you were actually prior to pregame, I was watching that thing and my face just broke out into a smile.
You were smiling the
for
whole
like
time.
A
I could
minute
see
and a half.
It was incredible. You know, and I think the biggest difference in the this and the Battletoads presentation way back, one, just the way they presented this. Like they presented it basically like, hey, you remember that TV show you loved as a kid? Like that they and then they hit you with this song. Like with the Battletoads, it was basically like, yo, you remember Battletoads? Remember that game that sucked shit? We're making it again. And then they showed the game and you're like, it looks like shit. It doesn't look like it plays well. This looks like it plays well. This looks like what you remember, but it looks like it's been modernized in a way that looks like it's going to be fun. This is being made by the developer that also did the Streets of Rage 4 game last year that people really liked. They also did the Scott Pilgrim game that people fucking love.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know, you're saying modernized. It actually looks more retro to me, like in a good way. Like,
right.
Like you said, the Scott Pilgrim people did with that video game. Like, it's good for the now, but it still brings you back to the then.
And what
I mean?
And what I mean by the modern take is the fluidity of the gameplay and the animation.
Totally.
You know, it feels like an old game. But when you're playing it, you're also like, yeah, this game was made in 2021.
Yes.
It looks great. It's coming soon.
Oh, yes.
It's coming soon. That's all we have been told. Coming soon to me means it's coming in the next 2 months. You know, so I think by the end of spring, I think this is happening. I mean, I don't know. Like, coming soon can't mean November. Like, that seems too far away.
Who? Like, what outlet is this going? Is this across all platforms?
This is everything.
Okay.
This is going to be PC, Switch, Xbox.
Right before the summer.
Yeah, like it's probably, like, I would imagine April or May at the latest. I don't think you say coming soon if it's 6 months away. But yeah, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like in a not only nostalgic, like, man, I remember that game, but also like, dude, I remember that game, but this looks neat. It looks cool. Yeah, totally blew me away how cool that looked. Charlie, finish us out. What's left?
The Stadia still exists.
And I didn't. I can also say I did not make good on my promise to go in and cancel. Gosh. So another week goes by. Serious? Yep, another week goes by, and I still have that dumb account.
Some of your Sabonis earnings gone
right.
By. Oh man, you need to get rid of that thing, dude.
I needed the Sabonis sale to be able to pay for my stupid Stadia.
That's covering your Stadia costs.
Yeah, I'll. You know what? I'm not even going to make any promises. I don't even know if I'll remember to. New releases this week. There's only one, and to be honest, like, the only reason I even put this on here is that I couldn't go 2 weeks without something.
Sure.
That Crash.
I saw this too.
Yeah, that Crash 4. It's About Time port to Switch, and then the upgrade to PS5 and Xbox is out on Friday. The upgrades.
I saw that there was a release of Kings of Amalur.
Yeah, they did
this week.
Yeah, they're still
not a new release, but
yeah, they're still pumping that thing out. I think next week we actually have a real new release. I think. But anyway, so folks, that's the new releases. That's the news. And we're going to move on to the Let's Remember a Game segment. It's where myself and Charlie, we talk about any game that we want to, something from the years of yore or something even a little bit more new. But this week, we're going a little bit way back. Charlie, we're going back for you to the big giant Xbox.
The big old brick.
Big old brick. Let's talk about your game.
Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
Yeah.
It is a fun dungeon crawling multiplayer beat 'em up. We play. It was out on various platforms. I think it was at N64, the PS2. We played this one on the the Xbox brick. I think it was out on the GameCube as well.
Yeah, this was GameCube. GameCube, PS2, Xbox. You're thinking of Gauntlet Legends on the 64.
Okay, yeah. Published by Midway Games. You can tell this game is very, very Midway. Just by the graphics system and the presentation. You have a Michael Buffer announcer basically walking. I mean, it is almost like, he is walking you through either every key moment or every pratfall you go through. It's this weird like God voice tutorial that, even though you're an hour into the game, he still keeps mentioning, poison food tends to make your character slower or whatever. The fun thing about this game, I remember it very well playing with my friend, local multiplayer. Imagine that.
Couch co-op, if you will.
Dude, that was the way to go. And just when that game started, and again, the Michael Buffer announcer, would go in. One of the great aspects of this game is there were so many classes you could play with. Mm-hmm. You had the warrior, the Valkyrie, the wizard, the archer, the knight, the sorceress, the jester, the minotaur. It was you could pick your poison. All of them essentially played the same.
Yeah.
When it came down to it, it was just like more or less, what your avatar was going to be. I was like playing with the jester for some reason. Mm-hmm. Just because it was just a fun, kooky thing to do.
For sure.
God, there's not many moments really strike me when I think about this game. It's just the memories of playing local multiplayer. Right. I think this is one of like, I don't want to say one of the last local multiplayer games I played with people, because obviously we played Rock Band and Super Smash Brothers together and stuff like that.
Tiger, Madden.
But it seems like, when it came to games of this ilk, now it's really meant for online multiplayer, and it takes away from it, especially when your friends are just barking orders at each other because you're just constantly trying to wind your way through this maze of a dungeon. But everyone's trying to go for there are moments where everyone's trying to go for the meat or the food, because everyone's losing life like left and right. This was not like, Gauntlet Legends where you're constantly losing life at like a fixed rate.
Right.
Which I still don't get how people play that game. But again, when I say it looks very Midway, it looks very Midway. Oh, yeah. If you played NBA Jam, it's like they took the NBA Jam engine and just placed Valkyries and Knights and
Midway
warriors in it.
Yeah, Midway in the 1997 to 2003 era, all of their games had the same exact look. All the characters looked exactly the same. You could look at the screen and be like, Midway game.
Yep.
And this was
like,
one of them.
Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat games,
Mhm.
even. Yeah, Gauntlet was. I don't think we ever. God, I remember nights where we would literally play from dusk till dawn, practically,
Yeah.
and just we. I don't think I ever beat that game. Now that I think about it,
Mm.
we would make our way through all the different sub levels and get all the runes and the shards. But I don't think we ever got to like the last boss. We just like honestly just like play ourselves into just this zombie like stupor, and we're like, all right, guys, we want to call it a night.
Sounds
We're
like
kind
every
of
Friday or
done.
Saturday. Yeah.
You can kind of tell that like Charlie's over there just kind of running into a wall, just constantly just running and not doing anything. Is
Exactly.
my head is down on the ground, but my controller is still like stuck
Yeah.
on left. No, I mean like when I thought of a game to remember, like that was like the first one that really came up in my head. And then I started watching, because I wanted to like kind of spruce up as to like what it was, just to kind of remember it. I watched some YouTube long plays of it, just the beginning. Yeah, like I brought a smile to my face again because I was like, oh my god, like I totally remember this game. And
Yeah, it was such a weird
totally,
era. It was such a weird era for stuff like that because I'm more familiar with Legends on
okay.
64 than I am Dark Legacy. And it was that weird era where when they would bring over arcade games to the consoles
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, and this was the case with a game like Crazy Taxi as well on the Dreamcast. They would just straight up bring like an arcade version where, like you talked about, how in the Gauntlet Legends you had the diminishing HP as you
Yeah.
played, and that's exactly how the arcade game played, and that the whole point of that was to get you to feed it more quarters. Um, NFL Blitz was exactly like the same way too.
Yes.
It
Oh yeah.
was,
Blitz. Duh.
the so like the way that they
Talk
said
about
that they
Midway.
just brought those over. With Mortal Kombat, they I mean, really, Mortal Kombat was kind of the same way too.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the Midway stuff, especially when it came over from the arcade, they kind of kept everything about the arcade in those games, right down to the way that they would make you, instead of quarters, you hit the start button.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, Gauntlet. I know this is supposed to be about Dark Legacy, but Gauntlet in general, it was one of those games where it was like that was the all night binger, and back even in 97, 98 on the N64, that was definitely a, hey, what are we gonna do tonight? Well, we've played GoldenEye enough, I think. Well, all right, let's play Gauntlet Legends then.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a little bit of Dark Legacy as well, not quite as much. And it's so funny to think about games like that and how they are from such a different era. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Gauntlet today would do very well, because it just seems like it's from a different era. Like, there are certain genre of games that don't seem like they would do great these days, and I feel like the kind of quarter feeding kind of action adventure game is one of those. Yeah, it's awesome. The Gauntlet was great though. I love Gauntlet. You got anything else on Gauntlet Dark Legacy?
It's only
And
9:30, dude. Come on
yep,
now.
and I am doing great. You got
No, man. The couple things I did want to mention,
yeah,
that I forgot to mention earlier, like not just the appearance of this game, but the sound of this game.
oh yeah,
You would have those chimes. You would have again the Michael Buffer reverb, man, just like
yeah,
"Welcome to Gauntlet
yeah.
Legends,"
Red Mage has
and
gained
it
a
was just
level.
this more. It became more epic in your eyes because you're like, okay, gosh, we're going on a journey, guys. Um, I watched a video not too long ago. One of those like things, it's like there's the history of video games, and I remember Gauntlet had come up, and it was like in the mid '80s, and I remember that like they were kind of talking about it and stuff, and it's amazing how They took that simple engine of dungeon crawlers and a whole bunch of minions, like just stuck in random rooms or whatever, just waiting to pounce on you while you were trying to traverse each dungeon before getting to the goal. And I think 17 to 20 years later, kind of came up with their own rendition of this, like in the arcade and the new consoles, and it pretty much plays the same,
Yeah.
except better graphics, better systems, better
Yeah.
gameplay, more faster gameplay and
If it
such.
ain't
But
broke, don't fix it.
like dungeon crawlers, I don't like. I don't like. I agree with you that this game probably would not work well today. But dungeon crawlers, man, like, you want to talk about one of
Yeah.
the origins of video gaming, that is not going to go away anytime soon.
Think about it like this. Probably without the original Gauntlet, there's no such thing as Diablo.
Oh, sure. Oh, gosh,
You
yeah.
know, Diablo took that genre and kind of put it on its head. But yeah, I don't think with yeah, if Gauntlet's never made, I mean, we talked about how you talk about how a game like Rogue back in the 80s, now roguelikes are, you
Hmm.
know, without Rogue, there's no roguelikes. Well, there's no Diablo without Gauntlet, and it's
Yeah.
um,
Oh, that's very true.
God,
Especially when you're talking about the different class of characters
yeah, exactly.
that are available in both games.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Yep, yep.
Yep. Gauntlet Dark Legacy for the Xbox Brick.
That's a good one. I always like your selections because they're always just so they're so like holy shit, I forgot about that game. Like I feel like everything you do, every one of these you do is like is one of those where you're just like, oh my god, I cannot believe that you chose that. That's so good. But yeah, another good selection by you.
Well, man,
Uh,
yours is one that I'm like, I've never played it.
yeah,
And I want to know if your platform will make me regret not having played this thing,
sure.
unless it's available on the Switch library. So,
Sure. So we had last week, Charlie, that there is going to be a new Mario Golf game coming to the Nintendo Switch later this year, and we did talk a little bit about last week about our history with Mario Golf for the ones that we had played. Well, the one that I completely had forgotten about was the original Mario Golf, which is the NES Open Tournament Golf on the original NES. Um, I don't know, Charlie, if you're familiar with golf on the NES. With
ugh.
with the big kind of fat version of Mario. It's it's very basic. The arcade version is actually the arcade version of golf actually has the tracker ball like Golden Tee has.
Oh, okay.
I used to play that all the time at the movie theater in Seguin, Texas, that had two screens.
Oh, nice.
Now you can go to ones that have 30. Back in my day, we only had two screens. Anyway, so golf came out on the NES back in 1986, basically when the NES came out, and it was not a great version of that game. You talk about arcade versions of games coming to consoles, not great back then. Well, they made a sequel called NES Tournament Open, and they expanded the game in many ways. First of all, there were multiple courses. There was a US, there was a UK, and there was a Japan course. And the courses had different, obviously, the holes were different for all of those courses. But the one thing that it did that was really interesting and kind of was the seeds that were planted for later versions of Mario Golf, especially when you got into the N64 and later era, was it had the early kind of basic outline of an RPG in that your
That's,
character can level up and get better stats. You can
oh,
get
okay.
and you had to do that to be able to unlock courses later on. Like it was very basic. It wasn't how especially golf games can be today, where it's got a very, a real deep level up system and things like that. But it kind of had that outline of, yeah, you're doing some sort of progression. It wasn't just, hey, go play golf. You could be Mario. No, you could be Mario and all that, but you can have your own character. You could choose a boy or a girl. It's very limited, but you could kind of level up your characters, level up your golf clubs, get new golf clubs. And it was kind of one of those early NES games that had that type of progression. Because, in those early days of NES games, it was a lot of kind of more arcade style games. And there wasn't a lot of progression of characters aside from your early Final Fantasies and Dragon Quest. Um, we talk about how, without those old gauntlets, you don't have the new gauntlets. Without NES Tournament Open, you don't have Mario Golf. You don't have Mario Golf on the Nintendo 64, and you don't have what is going to be coming out this year. Um, I don't know if it's on the store, if it's on the Switch NES or not. I can't remember if it is. I guess we could look it up. But I would say, Charlie, I think it is worth going and playing because I think it actually still holds up okay. Like it does the three it does the three uh button press, one for power, or one to start, one for power, and then one for your accuracy.
Just
Um
like just like Mario Golf.
yeah, just like Mario Golf games in the future and kind of those early
Yeah.
Tiger Woods games. Um so it kind of uses that kind of standard that kind of standard control. I'm looking up. It is on the Switch NES.
Know what I might be playing after
Yeah,
this.
yeah, you should give it a shot. It's worth playing around, like if anything, just to kind of see where the early incarnation of that series. um and I think it plays all right. I think it's obviously a lot of it is going to be, kind of part of the nostalgia of it, but I think overall it's a decent little game. And I'm just saying the Nintendo Switch NES service does have online multiplayer for those games, and I wonder if NES Open might be one of those games. I'm just saying. But yeah, I think you should give it a shot. I think it is one of those games. I think it's actually a good thing to play, kind of for us, Charlie, where we're all about kind of the history of stuff of video games. And I think this is a cool kind of historical look at, oh, this is what golf games were back then,
Yeah.
like good golf games were. And there wasn't very many of those. There wasn't very many of those good golf games really until you got to the PlayStation 2 era with the Tiger Woods series. But that is my game of the week, and that is our games of the week. Charlie, unless you have anything else to add, um,
Not much less to add. I'm looking at pictures of the Nintendo uh the NES Open Tournament Golf.
yeah,
It actually looks pretty cool. Like
yeah,
I can see the skeleton of where the future Mario Golf games, you know, got their looks from.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's hard to iterate on golf games, especially like I've played that Hot Shots World Tournament where I still play it every now and then as I continue to level up these anime characters or whatever with their different attributes and stuff. Very Golden Tee esque looking. No, I like it's one of those things where I'm like golf comes and goes with me. Especially if it's around major time, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the mood for golf or whatever. Um, oh, golf shots, golf clash, yeah, yeah. Like my my father-in-law plays that thing like religiously now almost. Like he told me the other day that he actually made his first tournament and was so excited and just like I was like, "Oh, that's awesome, man." Like it, yeah, it, yeah. But I mean, like I haven't spent a dime on that game. Um, yeah, I mean that lends itself to like your mobile phone microtransaction games. I mean, that's how they make their money. Unfortunately, there's no way to diversify between people who are playing it casually and not spending money on it versus people who are basically paying for all those power ups and you know monetarily getting leveling up themselves. That's just not fair. Yeah, pay to win. Yeah, looks like something that you can like casually play just like in bed, just like oh good. Yeah, all 4 rounds. Here we go. Man. WNBC. Oh God. Netscape. Oh, he didn't give us the duck question. What was the other one? Peanut butter? Yeah, ham? Like ham. Cheese? Man, I have to change things up every now and then. I consider myself a variety gamer. Like there are definite genres that I probably float toward more, but there is definitely a limitation on the my exposure to certain game styles or whatever. Like sometimes I like to just jump in and play a little platformer. Sometimes I want to race the little games or whatever. Now I'm definitely much more of a variety gamer. Horror. I do know some people that like they just stick to shooters or they just stick to adventure games, which is fine. Like that's fine and dandy. Um, I guess I play games at a higher tick than perhaps those people. Whereas like I love pizza. I can't have pizza every day. Like eventually, I need to change up to like a steak or a Philly cheesesteak or you know turkey brisket. Um, you took the words right out of my mouth in regards to all that stuff. Um, it's just so hard sometimes because AAA has all the money practically. You would think that they're just like they could just beat down with like let's just get a banger of a team together to put together this great product and it will be awesome. And that's definitely not been the case. You could argue that indie studios are working harder at their craft with more limitations to continue to compete with AAA studios. I agree with you that like it's true. Like quality games, both sides can attest to that they've made great games. Like great games just keep coming out of the woodwork from both sides of the Mendoza line. Um, fun games. Fun is a subjective term. Like I don't know in regards to what fun is. Like are you talking like quirky? Are you talking like like something that's that you immerse yourself into? Like there are serious games out there that people consider fun. There are horror games out there that scare the crap out of you and I, but a lot of people profess to love them because they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't put it better myself. What you said in regards to everyone's coming out of the woodwork right now, in regards to putting out fun and quality games. And yes, I don't think indie studios are beating AAA, but they have definitely are caught up.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree because my mic was off the last 5 minutes apparently. So everything you said is exactly. God damn it!
Why can't I interrupt him?
Fuck. I don't even know what I said. He said just
I'm
Everything
sorry.
no, I mean it's my fault. It's just fucking goddamn it. Anyway, you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Let's just move on. Let's do this last video game one, then we'll get to the fun quirky questions. As you get older and have more responsibilities and you have less game time, do you give games less of a chance to grab your attention? Also, do services like Game Pass, PlayStation Now, contribute to the I gave it 30 minutes, didn't like it since you have access to so many free games, in quotes? 100%. Yeah,
Great
like
question.
it's a great question. Like our time is very limited, and obviously we're older too. And I think, Charlie, because we know what we like, we know what games make us feel good when we play them, we know very quickly if a game is not going to be our thing. And so I think a game has to click with us pretty quickly or we're going to move on from it. And yeah, obviously Game Pass and PlayStation Now gives us opportunity to try stuff we wouldn't necessarily try because we're not going to pay for something we don't know much about. I will say that I definitely try more stuff than I used to because of Game Pass, but also, yeah, I usually give something 20, 30 minutes, and if I like it, I keep messing with it. And Astroneer is an example of that. After the first 30 minutes, I was like, dude, this is my kind of game. But I've had instances where that's not the case. What about you, Charlie?
To the first question, yes. I definitely now give games less of a chance to really, really grab my attention. There are games out there where, without demos, we really can't lend ourselves to trying new things as much.
I miss the demo era.
And so we have to go on people who review games who align their interests with our own, and just say like, oh, this person likes this game, I must like this game, and so I'll try it.
Sure.
There's that. To the second question, I do wholeheartedly believe that services like Game Pass and PlayStation Now both contribute to the short attention span of 30 minutes, didn't like it. We come from back in the day where we were either we bought a game or we got a game for Christmas, and you had to, I don't want to say learn to like it, but the developers back then didn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, we need to sink our teeth into this gamer within the first 30 minutes to an hour to ensure that they're going to enjoy this product.
Right.
A lot of those older games are slow burns. Like, gosh, I think, what was it? I tried to start, was it was King's Quest? It was one of those RPGs on the Super Nintendo online, that access, the on-demand access. That, good lord, it took 30 minutes just to even start playing.
Right.
Like, and it lends itself to that technology where like a lot of it's reading, because back then they didn't have any voice dialogue in those games. But if that was me today, like if that game came out today, like I can see a lot of people who are just like, nope, this is not for me, next. And they've completely missed out on a fantastic video game. Like, I could take an example for the video game I'm playing right now. Final Fantasy X does not exactly kick off immediately.
No, it takes time to get
There
into
is a lot of buildup. And I'm speaking too much to the 30-minute mark, but even like games like that lend itself, an hour or even more to get even just the gist of it, or just get the feel like, oh, this is a game that I'm going to like. Services like Game Pass, they do lend itself to where you now have a whole library of games at your disposal, it's almost like now there's less of a I don't know how can I word this, not really uniqueness, but it's just there whenever you want it, you know, like
Right.
you can just reach out and play a game, and you know, you play it, you're done with it, you move on,
Well,
you know.
you talk about missing demos. I mean, that's basically what Game Pass is. Like the games that are on
Sure.
there, you basically are like, okay, I'm gonna try this game. This is the demo, and if I
Sure.
like it, I'll keep playing it. If not, I'm gonna delete it. Like the 360 era was so great for demos. Like that was the era where demos were so easy because one, they were plentiful and you could download them. You know,
Sure.
because Nick in the chat mentioned, you know, the Xbox magazine with the demo disc and the PlayStation official PlayStation magazine that had the demo disc. Well, you had to wait a month for those, and sometimes you got a demo disc that had stuff on it that you didn't give two shits about.
Sure.
And so, the kind of
I will say this about the demos though. A lot of times those demos don't exactly start at the beginning of the game.
oh no,
They will
absolutely
start
not.
like they'll give you the little rhetoric, and then they'll put you like maybe, you know,
Yeah, they'll just give you a
a tenth
chunk.
of the way through,
Yeah, they'll give you a
where
chunk
there's
somewhere
a
through.
lot of action. They the thing about demos is that they grab you. These games though, now that are on Game Pass, you're starting from the very beginning, so
Sure,
you're going to get whatever they want to deliver to you within the first 30 minutes.
100%.
And if you don't like it, you're just like, well, put this back on the shelf, take this one out, let's see what this one has for
Oh
me.
yeah,
And you may miss a very awesome video game because
yeah.
you're like, what's next? So
Well, yeah, and it's tough because, you know, going back to kind of the original point of the question. Yeah, we have such limited time. We can't get bogged down in stuff
yeah.
that has a not necessarily a bad first impression, but a slow first impression. Because yeah, there are games on Game Pass that I've tried where I've been like, no, not even close. And then other times it's like Donut County where I start playing it and then I just finish it in that one sitting. So it's yeah, like again, like Game Pass and PlayStation Now, like the beauty of those services is that you are given this big library of games, a lot of stuff that you never one potentially never heard of, and two never would have tried. So we're getting to see this stuff over different genres that we don't necessarily mess around with too much. And again, like Donut County, and um, it's those services. I say it every week, and I will continue to. It's the greatest value in gaming. Those services, and they will continue to be that way, especially as they expand. It's it's great.
I want a follow up question or a third question
Okay,
to add to this,
sure.
kind of in regards to like Game Pass. So you know how we have streaming services now, and we pretty much like have every movie at our disposal. You have your Netflix, your Hulu, your Disney Plus or whatever, Prime, etc. With having Game Passes, you know, it's very cheap. You're like, okay, I have this cheap form of this gaming library or whatever. And yes, in the long run, it does save money. Do people who like they don't know what it's like to like I just spent $40 or $50 on a game. I need to squeeze as much of that blood out of that stone as I can to get the full value of that thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas today, and this is the caveat. Where today, a lot of people, not to to highlight it, but your Stadia subscription. Do people today have that thing, and then they just like, I have it. There's $5 out of my account. I really haven't played a video game this month, but I still have it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around, and like, and like I know that companies are just like, well, this person's not playing it, but we got his $5, so it is what it is. So
100%, and that's exactly what is happening with Stadia for me. It's the it's the Netflix thing of I'm not using it, but I keep forgetting to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Type of thing. I'll say that for me, because of how I play video games, like Game Pass. With Game Pass, literally, I would say 90% of my games that I play are Game Pass games. I don't buy a lot of new stuff. You know, and I go out of my way to find stuff on Game Pass. But also, I think until we get to a place where it's like a streaming service where really the only way you play video games is by doing those services, then I think that can become a problem because like with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, I mean, yes, you have cable television, but if you want to watch movies, that's the way people watch movies now. Some people have, buy DVDs still and stuff, but that is the number one way to do it. Game Pass is not the number one way to play video games yet. It'll eventually get there, same with PlayStation Now, but it's still not there. It's very much like the early days of Netflix where it was like, why would I I want to own my physical copies of my shit. And that eventually went away. Nobody cares about that except for Ryan. I think there's, now that the digital age of video games is here, the streaming digital age of video games is very close. So, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time, and I'm also glad that I was able to get all of that out with my microphone on. All right, Charlie. Enough of the serious video game talk. Let's get to some fun. Nick, God damn it, Nick asked us, if you make macaroni and cheese runny enough, does it become soup?
Do I need to talk to my cousin about how to cook? Is that what Nick is saying here?
I don't know, but
is that what's going on here?
Like, isn't the actual answer if you have macaroni and cheese that's that runny, isn't it just, why are you eating it? That's gross.
I mean, back in the day, I've actually had runny macaroni and cheese. It wasn't that bad. Like,
I'm all about gooey.
It definitely lend itself to a different texture.
Yeah.
It does become soup. Yeah, it becomes cheese soup with noodles. To answer the question.
Yeah, for sure. But also gross.
That's how Tito Lica makes it. I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah,
sure.
It's cheese soup with noodles.
Yeah. See, I'm a like Velveeta shells and cheese gooey kind of guy when it comes to.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Obviously, if I had time and patience, I would just make homemade, of course, with the breadcrumbs and the cheese on the top, and it's all nice and crumbly and delicious.
Why does it have to have breadcrumbs on top?
I don't know, but it's great. It doesn't matter why. It's amazing.
It was like I was watching this. I guess this barbecue cook-off show or whatever, and like one of the guys was like, "Why the hell are all these damn people adding cereal to the top of their macaroni and cheese?" Seriously, every person was like, "Let me crumble up some like cornflakes and and flambe it a little bit or whatever." And he's like, "What the heck happened when like cereal is served with macaroni and cheese? Just give me the freaking macaroni and cheese."
Oh, this is a bad discussion when you're on a diet, Charlie. I'm just gonna.
I know.
I hate it so much.
I mean a little bit, but
I hate it so much. Speaking of macaroni and cheese, do you like cheese?
I love cheese.
Cheese is the best. God damn it, cheese is the best.
I've literally gravitated toward the like string cheese snack.
Oh yeah,
those individual ones that you can just like
just rip them open
and pop them open and just start going to town.
It's really easy to eat like 4 of them.
What's your favorite cheese? Let's
Man, maybe this makes me a basic ass bitch, but
what?
Man, I love a basic bitch. I love provolone so much.
That's not basic at all. I thought you were gonna say like American. I'm like, okay.
I don't know. Yeah, give me an American craft single. they're very good on a cheeseburger, and they're very good on a grilled cheese. They're fine on those. Yeah, provolone, man. I love provolone. I love provolone on sandwiches. I love provolone on a nice meatball sub. I love provolone on a pizza. Um, I it's awesome. Like I like Swiss cheeses, and I like your Colby Jacks and your Goudas and all that. But yeah, there's something about the provolone, and I think it's because I the when it comes to sandwiches, I'm an Italian sandwich guy, which is provolone. That's what you use on it. That's or at least that's what I think you're supposed to use.
Is it your discovery of the meatball?
And that too. The yeah. Um, yeah. So it's yeah, provolone's the best. What about you?
So I love my aged cheddar. I love Gruyere, with a nice red. But gosh, like I will go down fighting to say that like brie is my favorite cheese of all time.
It's great.
Didn't know what the heck it was until I took a French class in high school. And my French teacher had this like Christmas party at her house, and all the students were invited, and I was just like, what the heck is this? And I spread it on a cracker, and I swear I'd had an epiphany. It was the best thing I ever had. And like, even to this day, I'll like, you go to the Whole Foods or Central Market, or even like, the Kroger or Albertsons or whatever, and you go to the specialty cheese area, and you're like, I can splurge an extra $2 for this triangle of cheese.
Kroger has an exceptional cheese section.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Kind of like, unbelievable.
I honestly think like a lot of the mainstay stores, main grocery stores, are starting to up their game in regards to getting more specialized, upscale food items, just to stay competitive with like the Sprouts and the Whole Foods and stuff like that. And no, like, yeah, Kroger has a really, really good Tom Thumb, has a really, really good one. Just, yeah, but brie is my number one.
That's a really good one. I'll say this, a very close second for me, because we're just going to talk about cheese. I don't care.
The cheese cast.
Fresh mozzarella.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just... You put it on that real crunchy little cracker bread with the tomato and the balsamic vinegar.
Yep.
Oh man, it's just
steak tomato.
Oh, right, yeah, where it's bigger than your head. Yeah, I'll say this, and this is not related, but it's related to our grocery store. I'm not too familiar with other places. I'm more because I usually shop Kroger. Their sushi bar is really good. Have you had it? Like, no. if they because you got to have one where they actually have people there making the rolls.
Yeah,
it's really,
I'm weird about sushi. Like, I've seen too many people.
So
like,
I am too.
My manager has, like, she told me horror stories, and she's not eaten sushi since then.
Sure.
Like, even like, this is years later, and I'm afraid that, like, the last time I had, store sushi was at like Central Market back when I first discovered sushi. And I think I was dating a girl at the time. She's like, don't try store sushi because you never know how old it's going to be, unless you wait right there for the person to make it right in front of you. Just be wary, because you don't want that one experience to destroy ever going back again. And that's just me. So
you have, like, there are some Krogers where they don't have the people that work there doing it in front of you. Like, they're not but the one that's next to my the one that I usually go to, they have the actual people there, the actual chefs there that are making them. And if you get it fresh, like if you tell them, I want the California roll with the sauce on it, they will make it for you right there and hand you the thing if you want it. So yeah, don't get it if it's just like, oh, it's the store.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't ever.
Better off with a gas station egg salad sandwich.
Don't buy frozen sushi. Jesus Christ, don't do that.
No.
And finally from Nico, checkers or chess? If it's which game I'm better at checkers, but I think chess is a better game.
Yeah. I will say this again. Watch Queen's Gambit if you can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, chess. Like, I've never seen checkers spurn any great watching movies or, people talking about, oh, this game today is a great game of chess between the two teams or a great game of checkers between the two teams. Checkers is fun. Don't get me wrong. I like a casual game of checkers. It's very, there's a lot of mind, mental, there's a lot of mentality that goes into playing checkers as well. But no, chess is
it's a better game.
It's checkers without the training wheels.
Yeah, it's a much better game. Like I said, I'm better at checkers, but and I like both. Nico, thank you so much for the questions. A lot of good ones. We've got some other ones from Nico that we'll save for next week. But that is the mailbag. The mailbag. And now we've come to the point in the show, Charlie. It's the final segment as I try to find the song. It's the final segment, and that final segment is this. And now it's time for Wednesday Night Scatter Shooting with your host, Marshall Mitch, right here on the Gamescast. Thank you, lady. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scatter Shooting, and I'll start off with scatter shooting while wondering whatever happened to badass licensed music soundtracks in video games.
Oops.
Well, speaking of licensed soundtracks, like I said, licensed soundtracks seem to have gone by the wayside lately, which is quite a shame. Between 1998 and 2011, though, it seemed to be the sweet spot for really, really solid licensed music in video games. The sign of a great soundtrack or licensing of a song is what it does for the song outside of the video game, mostly to get new ears on the song. I've compiled a list of some of those soundtracks and mainly songs that saw increases in visibility outside of the game. Of course, games like Rocket Beat League, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, and the like make music more visible to newer audiences, but we are setting those aside for now. Some of these have numbers and stories to actually back them up, but some I've cherry-picked myself as entries that I believe saw a definite rise in popularity. And we'll start off with I think there's an argument to be made that the Grand Theft Auto series is the crown jewel of licensing music in games. And I think that's certainly the case for Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The eclectic mix of music from the early to mid 80s was the perfect mix of music for the game. And at the top of that pack, it was probably the new wave classic I Ran by a Flock of Seagulls. The song was used in most of the trailers and promotional videos leading up to and after the release of the game, so I think there's no doubt that this song was listened to by a new audience with the amount of play that the song got pre-release. Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I think that might be the best soundtrack in video game history. What do you think, Charlie?
It's pretty good.
I think there's one other candidate which we'll get to at the end here, but yeah, it was a perfect soundtrack, especially for that game. Moving on, Gran Turismo is no stranger to great soundtracks, with the best being from arguably the best game in the series, Gran Turismo 3. The soundtrack included songs from Motley Crue, Goldfinger, which we'll have more on later, and Muse, but two stood out in terms of big outside of the game releases. First was a remixed version of Lenny Kravitz's "Are You Going My Way," which was not only part of the promotional videos, but was played in the intro of the game. The other song that was made was a song that was made specifically for Gran Turismo 3, Charlie, and you know it. Snoop Dogg's Dogs Turismo 3, in which Snoop Dogg wrote a song for Gran Turismo 3 with such lyrics as, "I might use the Celica, the Mazda, Nissan, or Toyota. I heard they got that new PT Cruiser on there too. Yeah, which of course we're going to use. Let's try the Deep Forest," which was a track in the game. "I heard that was fly." That was in the game, and it was actually a small hit for Snoop Dogg. Next up, when Twisted Metal Black started up and the notes to that eerie guitar open of Paint It Black began, no one could resist listening to that song. Previous to that game, the Rolling Stones had never licensed a song in a video game, so I'm sure when Mick Jagger heard about the darkness of the game, he thought it was a perfect fit, and of course we know now was very much a perfect fit. There's no doubt to me that there were tons of people in that era that were hearing that song and the Rolling Stones for the first time. And I bet that song and the songs and those albums took a huge jump from that game, that people were like, oh man, I want to check out the Rolling Stones because this song is great. And finally...
Well, dads everywhere going, what?
Right? Yeah. All the dads were like, back in my day...
Sons are going, what's a Rolling Stone, Dad?
They're just like, oh, son of a bitch.
I've failed. Glock to mouth.
And finally, this is what I think is no doubt the biggest success story in licensed music and potentially the greatest soundtrack of all time. Back in 1999, a little game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater came out and featured a soundtrack full of ska, punk rock, and rap from mostly bands at the time that were not very big. It did feature songs from Public Enemy, Primus, and a little ska band by the name of Goldfinger. Almost everyone that I know, including me at the time, and with apologies to our good friend Ryan, this was the first time hearing Goldfinger, and that was Superman on the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtrack. The popularity of that song and the band skyrocketed after the game came out. John Feldman, the frontman and founder of Goldfinger, said of the song in the game, quote, "I really didn't know how much Tony Hawk helped our band with that song until we were on tour in England. We were touring with the Bloodhound Gang, and we were opening for the Bloodhound Gang because they had a huge song in Europe at the time, which was The Bad Touch. So we played with them in England, and we opened the show, and all of a sudden we played Superman, and everybody in the crowd went ballistic. It was the biggest circle pit of the entire night. There was no moment in Bloodhound Gang set or ours that surpassed what happened with the song. And I was like, what the fuck is happening with this song? But then he put two and two together and realized that Pro Skater had become one of the biggest games in the world. Everyone was listening to punk rock music, and the whole skate community was playing this game. And it became this thing that was much bigger than anyone could ever have imagined. I was asked if it was okay to put the song in the video game, and I was like, fuck yeah, it is. Tony Hawk is a legend. End quote. So it's very obvious that the Tony Hawk games made bands, including Goldfinger, which is pretty awesome stuff. And finally,
that's really rad.
Yeah, it's awesome. That new album of theirs, Goldfingers, is incredibly good. And finally, some Tony Hawk jokes to end the week. What do Stephen Hawking and Tony Hawk have in common? They both love ramps. You know what you know what they're gonna say when Tony Hawk dies? Tony Hawk's underground. Baby, I love you so much. You must be a Tony Hawk game, because when I'm with you, I'm Neversoft. Neversoft was the company that made it. And lastly, what dating app does Tony Hawk use? Grindr.
Leave.
Thank you guys so much for watching the scatter shooting with your friend Mitchell Barrett right here on the MC Gamescast.
My goodness.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the part of the show where it is time to say goodbye. Charlie, what do you got going on this week?
Oh man, well, I'm just trying to close things down at the office, but like I said, I'm thinking about doing a little more of this Arkham Origins stuff. Definitely looking to stream a little more Fallout, probably tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I'm doing this week. Looking forward to the spring break.
Yeah,
coming up. So
yeah, for
that
sure.
is my plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably play. Not probably. I'm definitely gonna play more Astroneer. I'm having a great time with it. If I do stream, which we'll see. If I do, it'll probably be Astroneer. It's such a fun game. I want to keep on playing it. Unfortunately, I will not be taking any time off for spring break, but my kids are going out of town without me, so it's actually a vacation on its own, and I actually cannot wait. I'm going to be wasted the entire time. I'm not. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the MC Gamescast for this week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. And Charlie, thank you so much for joining me. As usual, next week we'll be back Wednesday, our normal time slot, over at the twitch.tv/Charizard81, where you can find next week's episode of the Gamecast and Charlie playing his Fallout and other games for you, the Twitch audience. And I am twitch.tv/Team Llama Squad, where you can catch this podcast and currently nothing else. But anyway, Charlie, we made it through another close. Smooth sailing for at least the next couple of weeks. Charlie, my man, I will see you tomorrow, and I'll see everybody else. For Charlie, this is Mitch, and I missed the timing. Have a great week! Goodbye, everybody!